Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including the Model Y receiving the highest safety of any vehicle, incredible fast charging on the way, Tesla forced to limit Autopilot, and Tesla's lithium plant and more, so let's get into it. First up today, as we're continuing to see more and more each day, Tesla's Supercharger network remains a huge advantage for them. Other EVs are relying on third-party networks that just aren't as reliable at this point in time, but expanding. However, Tesla is scaling millions of cars each year, and there is a concern that if they don't build enough chargers, or they open those chargers up to other EVs, they will end up with far too much congestion to be properly used. Well, Tesla is planning for this by rapidly expanding supercharging. Plans for their upcoming prefabricated V4 chargers have leaked, and it appears to have different possible options like the Tesla connector or CCS. The first Tesla supercharger station with V4 chargers is planned for Yuma County, Arizona as well, with 40 stalls. Tesla is also planning to install solar and mega packs at this station, which should allow them to reduce reliance on the grid at that charger. Ultimately, that's Tesla's vision for all superchargers. At the same time, if you look at Tesla's Find Us map, you can see hundreds of upcoming supercharger locations in gray. Many of these are located at Targets and say they will be opening in 2023. This expansion is exciting to see, but Tesla has been choosing locations based on most popular routes and vehicle data. Now they are going to start a program for supercharger voting. At Tesla Charging tweeted saying, quote, "Supercharger voting coming soon. Reply with location suggestions. Replies with the most likes will be included in the poll." There are nearly 5,000 replies to this tweet, so I think Tesla will end up finding a different way for this polling and voting to work in the future, but it's a great start. I'm guessing they will open up some sort of form website where owners can vote on where they most want locations. Really curious to see how this works in practice, but it's incredibly smart. If tons of users need and want a charger in a specific area that has slipped through the cracks thus far, it may soon have one added. Fast charging on road trips is one of the biggest concerns for all EV owners, and Tesla is solving this better than anyone. Much more on fast charging in just a minute. Next up today, the 2022 Tesla Model Y just received a top safety rating in Australia. As Tesla put it in a tweet last week, quote, "Tesla Model Y receives highest safety score of any vehicle ever tested." The agency was Euro NCAP, which stands for European New Car Assessment Program. Quote, "As part of this assessment, Model Y received the highest overall score among any vehicle tested under Euro NCAP's newest, most stringent test protocol. This was based on an evaluation of Model Y's ability to protect adults, children, and vulnerable road users like cyclists and pedestrians, as well as its safety assistance features. For overall score, it received 92%, with the runner-up, the Lexus NX, at 89%. For adult occupant protection, they scored 97%, with the next best at 96%. For the Euro NCAP Safety Assist score as well, they received 98%. The runner-up there is the Subaru Outback at 95%. Tesla actually attributes this to the move to Tesla Vision, saying, "This result was achieved with Model Y vehicles equipped with Tesla Vision, our camera vision and neural net processing system that now comes standard in all Tesla vehicles delivered in North America and Europe. This score was a result that many did not believe was possible without using radar. Many have assumed the removal of radar would make or has made Tesla's safety systems worse, but Tesla is clear that it is better. This agency is confirming the results. The one score Tesla didn't mention on their blog post is the child occupant score of 87%, one of the lower numbers Tesla achieved on this test, and it's worth noting. A big part of why they lost points here, though, is because it was not equipped to support every type of child seat. Quote, "Installation of typical child restraints available in Australia and New Zealand showed most child restraints could be accommodated in the rear seating positions. However, the Type A capsule and one of these selected booster seats could not be correctly installed in the center rear seating position." Some notable parts of the crash testing video show the far side airbag, which deploys between the front seats to prevent head injuries between two front occupants. Then they went the extra mile when testing automatic emergency braking for pedestrians. The Model Y stops exceptionally fast in these situations, and one particular test shows it stopping for a child dummy. This goes against a recent headline-making campaign showing Tesla's doing the opposite. As it was found, they weren't being tested properly, so this test shows how safe these cars truly are, stopping for pedestrians. This safety score with 5 stars in every category goes along with Tesla acing their NHTSA safety ratings and achieving the highest possible rating by IIHS. Next up today, faster and faster EV charging is what people want to see in the future, and we're seeing innovations in this area each week. Last week, I reported on research conducted at the Idaho National Laboratory, which took today's battery technology and managed to charge it safely from 0 to 90% in 10 minutes. The most exciting part about this was that it was a simple software change and requires no change in battery chemistry or battery management systems. This is something that could be implemented for Teslas at superchargers in the future and would cut charging times by 60%. 0 to 90% in 10 minutes is incredible, but of course this is still a technology that needs proving. On the other side of things is achieving faster charging with different batteries. StoreDot is a company touting, quote, innovative battery chemistry that is fast, safe, cost-effective, and future responsible. Their biggest innovation is the ability to charge your electric car for 100 miles of driving in just 5 minutes. They call this range-on-demand technology and say it's a radical improvement over typical lithium-ion technology. One particular thing to note is that they say regardless of how charged your car is, you'll always get 100 miles in 5 minutes, which could mean the elimination of a charging curve that slows down the fuller the battery is. However, details have been unclear thus far. Now this company is shipping production-ready cell samples to EV OEM partners and potential future customers. They call them 105 cells, and while StoreDot has not disclosed who their partners are, investors include Polestar, Mercedes, VinFast, BP, Samsung, and TDK. As for future potential customers, Tesla has clear plans for their own battery scaling, but I wouldn't be surprised if they received a sample as well. Tesla is interested and open to many different technologies as long as they improve user experience and can be scaled. They now utilize many different suppliers and plan to make their own cells, so if faster charging is truly possible, it could be something they would go for. As for the product and scaling, they are lithium-ion pouch cells specifically designed for EVs, and StoreDot is working on mass production for 2024 with their manufacturing partner EVE Energy over in China. StoreDot is touting their 105 technology, and while it's exciting, it does leave a lot of room for error, as efficiency has to be accounted for. It's unclear if they're charging 100 miles in the Aptura in 5 minutes or a Hummer EV, likely somewhere in the middle, but they don't plan to stop there. StoreDot's CEO said, quote, our journey will not end there, as we confidently continue with our strategic goal of providing 100 miles of range with just 3 minutes in 2028 and in 2 minutes of charging within a decade. If this technology truly comes to be and can be effectively scaled, it will be a big deal. StoreDot has revealed a number of technologies, and while this may not be one that we see in a Tesla for some time, last year they unveiled their own 4680 cell that can charge in 10 minutes. Quote, in a world first, the company demonstrated the prototype 4680 form factor that is fully charged in just 10 minutes. They claim to be able to achieve volume production of the fast-charging 4680 cell by 2024, but details remain unclear again as to how large the battery is that is recouping its charge in 10 minutes. StoreDot also revealed a battery regeneration technology that allows them to repair while in use. Quote, the self-repairing system identifies a cell or string of cells that are underperforming or overheating and temporarily disables them in order to recondition them back to 100% performance. The driver does not experience driving interruption or loss of performance in their EV during self-repair. As always, this type of technology is incredibly exciting to see. We see battery innovations coming from all over the place each day, but when it comes to EVs, the focus is scaling. Hopefully these technologies come to be at scale, and if they do, you can be sure that Tesla will be adding them into the mix. The future looks great for faster and faster EV charging. Next up today, an interesting development with automaker ZEV credits that could earn Tesla a lot more money. Tesla has made a lot over the years selling ZEV credits to rival automakers. These are zero emissions credits, and Tesla has been the go-to company for companies to buy ZEV credits from, since they have been the only company scaling electric cars. Quote, automakers are allowed to stockpile EV credits, but in the event that a company fails to sell enough zero-emission vehicles, they must purchase credits from other car makers. In 2026, ZEV rules are going to make a change, and it's going to make it harder for companies still relying on gasoline-powered vehicles for their business. Quote, under the updated system, each battery or fuel cell electric car with a minimum of 150-mile battery range will receive only one credit. Credits will also have a 5-year validity, unlike those earned today, which do not have an expiration date. Tesla continues to collect more credits than anyone and clearly won't have any problem receiving a credit for every car they sell since they are all zero emissions. In 2021, it's reported that Tesla averaged about $3,500 per credit sale. California is specifically moving forward with stricter zero emissions vehicle requirements, requiring automakers to sell 35% zero emission vehicles by 2026 and 100% by 2035. This could mean that companies who are not scaled on EVs are going to be hit by needing more ZEV credits in multiple ways, and Tesla will have plenty of them to sell. For example, a company like Jeep just announced their first EV concept, which we'll talk about later, but they plan to launch 4 EVs by 2025. Under these California rules, they'd need to sell 35% EVs just a year after they finish launching these new cars, and that's a huge task. Ultimately, it's speculation, and there are often many loopholes that come to be, but Tesla is set up for major success here. Many still think that their sale of EV credits is the only thing that makes them profitable, but that hasn't been the case for some time. Additionally, many think that other companies will easily introduce their own EVs, but these rules are getting stricter and are requiring large scaling. Likely, Tesla will be selling even more credits to EV makers in the coming years and come 2026. We'll see how this develops. Next up today, one of Tesla's most important factories often doesn't get talked about much, and that's Giga, Nevada. Tesla shares this with Panasonic, and battery cells are produced that are put into Tesla battery packs there. Tesla also makes electric motors, Powerwalls, and Megapacks there. Chris Lister, the vice president of Gigafactory operations, was in charge there but left Tesla recently. Now, new leadership is in place, and as a result, some new data about the factory's output leaked. During Q2 of 2022, Tesla's Giga Nevada produced 283,473 drivetrains, and most of these went to Tesla's Fremont and Austin factories. In order to feed the Fremont factory with enough battery packs for vehicle production, they have to maintain, quote, a steady output of 8,800 high-voltage battery packs per week. At the same time that they need to be at a capacity of 8,800 there, it is reported here that they are at a capacity of 42 megapacks per week. This is up from 34 megapacks a week in the previous quarter. While 8 might not sound like a huge improvement, megapacks are gigantic, including 3 megawatt hours of battery per unit. That's around the size of 30 Model S battery packs. For Powerwalls in the second quarter, Tesla produced 36,600, but is now capable of producing over 6,500 Powerwalls each week. If this maintains, it would mean quarterly output of around 70,000 Powerwalls, which is huge for that expansion. It sets up well for what Elon Musk recently talked about, Tesla being able to offer Powerwalls a la carte once again, instead of always having to bundle it with solar. Since Giga Nevada feeds directly into Fremont, reports of Fremont overall capacity came through here as well, saying that Tesla is now at a production rate of 12,000 cars per week at the factory and is working towards a goal of 14,000 cars per week. They truly are never stopping, and it's amazing to see the scale that they are working with batteries just from Giga Nevada alone. Since this factory doesn't make the final car, it's rarely talked about, but it's responsible for Tesla's run rates. There's no Tesla without the battery pack, so it's great to see an update from Giga Nevada and its production capacities. Now, as far as the factory that feeds the battery factory that then feeds the car factory, Tesla is moving forward in that regard as well. They are planning to build a lithium refining factory over in Texas. Previously, Elon Musk has referred to lithium refining efforts these days as a license to print money, since demand is so high. He said, quote, "I'd like to once again urge entrepreneurs to enter the lithium refining business. The mining is relatively easy, the refining is much harder. You can't lose, it's a license to print money." He also referred to the margins for this process as software-like, but Tesla hasn't moved directly in this space yet. They tried to buy a lithium startup in 2014 and announced lithium efforts in 2020 at Battery Day, but they have yet to do anything with any of that yet. At the same time, the price of lithium has gone up around 400%. Tesla is continuing to work on contracts with companies supplying lithium, as they do with battery suppliers, but now Reuters is reporting that Tesla is planning to build a lithium refining facility off the Gulf Coast of Texas. Quote, "The potential battery-grade lithium hydroxide refining facility, which Tesla touted as the first of its kind in North America, will process raw ore material into a usable state for battery production," the company said in an application filed with the Texas Comptroller's office. For now, the project needs approval, but if it is approved, Tesla would start construction by the end of this year. This should enable them to reach commercial production of refined lithium by the end of 2024. Pretty soon, this would mean that Tesla would be receiving refined lithium from suppliers and making their own. These would go into battery cells made by suppliers and themselves with 4680, which would end up in cars made at one of their multiple vehicle factories. They are in ultra expansion mode right now, and supply is the biggest piece of the puzzle that they are are working hard on. Ultimately, Tesla could be working to own the whole supply process long term, from raw materials to final vehicle construction, but that would take significant time, so we'll see. They still need to scale up the Model Y at their new factories, launch the Cybertruck, Semi, Roadster, and hopefully soon enough the $25,000 Tesla in whatever form that comes. Next up today, over in Germany, Tesla is being forced to change certain Autopilot features by the Federal Motor Transport Authority. This brings up questions as to how much effort will be required for FSD to be approved for use once Tesla gets to some form of true self-driving. Reportedly, the KBA is reporting abnormalities with the Autopilot system, saying, quote, "The KBA carried out tests on Tesla vehicles as part of market surveillance and found abnormalities. They have now been already partially remedied by the manufacturer. For the remaining problems, further remedial measures are still being tested and validated. The focus of the investigation is on the driver assistance system, Tesla Autopilot." KBA's president said that they may need to intervene if they don't receive their requested information from Tesla. Quote, "If we do not receive any information, we cannot rule out that systems do not comply with the rules." This comes after scrutiny of Tesla's auto lane change feature in Europe, which KBA believed might be illegal. Additionally, Autopilot and self-driving claims were judged as misleading by a German court back in 2020. In the US, Autopilot is under investigation by NHTSA. The advantage Tesla has here is that they can fix issues or change features with software updates, but hopefully we don't see much removed from Autopilot due to regulation. Overall, these systems prove useful and safe when responsibly monitored. We'll see what happens here and in the future for regulation of Tesla's self-driving features, as they're often the company at the forefront. Last up today, some updates from other automakers. Rivian and Mercedes announced that they signed a memorandum of understanding to create a joint venture to produce an electric van together. Not many details are shared, and we don't know what they'll make, but most expect it to be some form of their very popular Sprinter van. Rumors of a Rivian adventure van have been circling recently, so it could be a joint effort to bring the strengths of each company together. Over at Jeep, they announced that they are releasing 4 new all-electric models in the US and Europe by the end of 2025. This is part of their plan to hit 50% EV sales in the US by 2030. The vehicles include the Jeep Wagoneer SEV, Jeep Recon EV, Jeep Avenger, and Jeep Wrangler 4xe. The first vehicle expected is the Jeep Recon, with production in 2025. Great to finally see some EV announcements from Jeep, and a well-performing Jeep Recon in 2024 would likely sell very well. We'll see what the specs are as we get closer to its release. Chevy officially announced the 2024 Equinox EV. They said that it will start at an estimated $30,000 MSRP in the US and have a number of different trims. The lowest range is quoted at 250 miles, with the top range at 300, and if they can deliver, it should be very popular. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see my full review of the Hyundai Ioniq 5, you can check that out linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.